What would happen if you never gave up? I bet you've asked yourself that or have been told that many, many times. After all, that sort of mentality is the only reason I was able to go full-time with YouTube and continue making the videos you see on this channel today. I never gave up on my dream, but what if I told you might need to give up? Would this piss you off? Would you storm to the comments section saying, "Oh my god, Cole, I can't believe you're going against your own advice from previous videos. I will never give up. You are so wrong." You probably would if all you did was read the title and thumbnail and watch the first 10 seconds without comprehending the lesson that I'm trying to give. But if you watch this video, you might find the direction and nuance that I'm trying to provide you that could lead to your biggest breakthrough. There comes a point in time in every young person's life where they have some glimpse of that thing. The thing that could turn into more than just a hobby, and that could potentially solidify into a career or a main part of their identity. And I know that for me, when I was a senior in high school, that thing was programming. I had been recently aroused at the thought of becoming a programmer after watching the movie The Social Network, when I saw the Zuck transform into the youngest billionaire in the world, and while watching reruns of Notch, who is the creator of Minecraft, doing live streams of coding challenges. It was such an exciting feeling. It was like for the first time there was actually a reason to show up and do good work because the future started to matter. This is the first sign that what you're pursuing is the right path for you. The night before, you should be genuinely excited to wake up so you can go and do that thing. But in my experience, just that on its own isn't enough, and this is when you will be faced with your first challenge: resistance. What should resistance feel like when you're deciding whether you should give up or not? This might be one of the most important questions to have the answer to regarding your thing. Because no matter how beautiful it feels at the start, no matter how natural the progress feels, how much more meaningful the days get, and how hopeful you are that this could turn into something massive, eventually resistance will hunt you down, you will have doubts, and you might even start trying to chase the next latest trend or shiny thing. So if you're feeling resistance that makes you emotional, the first thing that I want you to keep in mind is that this is a good thing. Because if the work truly did not matter, if that thing did not matter, then you'd feel completely indifferent towards your avoiding of the work. If avoiding the work genuinely makes you upset, then that means you care about it. You give enough of a shit about it. My period of resistance with programming came at the start of my junior year in college. I had now been coding for a few years, and like many of you computer science majors know, I finally started getting into the harder classes like data structures and algorithms and machine learning. Now, if I even wanted to finish my homework assignments, I'd have to sit through tons of office hours, asking every single question about the problem until my professor finally got the hint that they should just give me the answer. I still had this sort of longing to get through my assignments and know what I was talking about and know the answers, but it came purely from a place of ego. And what I mean by that is the only reason that I wanted to have the answers was so I could appear smarter, and not because trudging through those difficulties and challenges that those complex coding problems gave me felt fulfilling. On the contrary, however, making YouTube videos, aka what I do now, never really felt like this. For years, I could not figure out why I wasn't getting the views I wanted. I'd average around a few hundred views and at max 1,000 views, and faced endless periods of resistance that produced, at least what felt like to me at the time, little to no progress. But those periods of resistance felt like blissful agony. I loved the fight. I loved showing up to the uncertainty of the game of YouTube and continuously trying to get 1% better each video. And I truly believed deep down that no matter what, if I just kept creating videos, I would become big eventually because I made the videos I would want to watch. And that's where the answer to our question about resistance lies. If, after breaking through those periods of creative blocks and challenges, the end result feels like paradise, even if the breakthrough didn't yet produce tangible results, that's probably the thing you shouldn't give up on. But if the experience is similar to my experience with breakthroughs regarding computer science, meaning that learning something new or fighting through the resistance to see the other side makes you feel indifferent, then maybe that's not the thing worth fighting for. Although I wasn't conscious enough of this type of thinking at the time, I did make the wise, unconscious decision to switch my major to cognitive science, mostly just because I wanted to have a bachelor in case the YouTube career didn't work out. But I will say that by that point that I made the decision to switch, I had already been doing a lot of self-improvement and inner work, which seemed to be just enough work done to recultivate my inner voice. This is the second key to discerning between something that's meant for you but has its moments where it feels unbearable and something we should genuinely not be moving towards. the sound of the inner voice. Within you is a voice which you've previously ignored or that has been silenced by other people's opinions. You might have caught an utterance of this voice when you were faced with a tough fork in the road and one of those roads called out to you more than the other, even though you couldn't think of any logical reason why. Or you might have heard it when you were around someone you felt like you couldn't trust, even though they showed no signs of untrustworthiness. This is the voice that has been suffocated through years of societal programming and negative experiences. Stacked in layers above that inner voice that is trying to guide you in your most optimal direction are all the voices from every person who has made a mark on your psyche. And right before that point in my early 20s when I started to move towards self-actualization, I had so many layers to unlearn and uncover. It started with the voices that told me, you will always be average, and don't try to stand out, or people will try to tear you down for appearing better than them. Then the voices that told me, your glasses make you look like you have a mental condition. You need to cover up your acne or else you'll stay ugly. And after every single failure, the voice that said, nice going, man. Just another thing that proves you'll never be exceptional. The difference between all of these voices and the voice that laid at the very bottom was that these voices came from the negative impacts and experiences in the reality outside of me. And this is the process you must go through to tap back into that true inner voice that came from nowhere but your own soul. You must identify which of these voices are based on the world's voice and start the process of undoing and unlearning all those lies. Now, some of these voices are highly deceptive and they will trick you into thinking that they are your furthest inner voice. For example, after having a lot of negative experiences in past relationships with women, I became highly untrustworthy of all women. I'd misinterpret when a woman wouldn't text me back right away or when she'd follow someone on Instagram, and I'd start thinking, she must not care about me. She must be out doing promiscuous things. And I was convinced that this was my true inner voice, but it always was the case that I gained more information about the situation and I found out that this person was just busy or hanging out with friends. It's definitely something I'm still working on recultivating today, but the biggest practice I do in regards to undoing that inaccurate voice is to recognize that it is in fact just an inaccurate learned behavior, ask myself why my brain immediately goes to that line of thinking, and practice fully accepting myself in that moment. Because it's obvious those types of thoughts spawned insecurity within me. I couldn't trust that another person could be being faithful and loyal to me because I didn't think another person liked me enough in order to do that. I was trying to seek confirmation that this person was doing something bad behind my back to prove to myself, those inner voices, that I was not good enough. The more that you do this, the easier it will be to hear the voice at the bottom that screams. And this voice will be screaming at you when it's trying to show you the direction you should be going in. At that point, all you have to do is listen. That might be really hard at the start, especially if you still have so many layers of voices based upon fear, whether that be fear of judgment or failure. And those voices might be able to scream louder than that innermost voice. But you must keep reminding yourself that those voices do not have your best interest in mind, particularly in regards to what you should really be doing with your life. Even when I still had so many voices to unlearn, that voice that was screaming at me to keep posting videos remained omnipresent. It was always there, and I'm very fortunate enough to have always listened to it. But I do have to admit, there was one time, just one time, in which that inner voice told me I might need to give up on YouTube. Do you know when that time was? It was in late 2022 when I was in the worst mental and physical state of my 20s. My state corrupted the inner voice and made me lose touch with my most self-actualized version. And as soon as I fixed those health problems that I was having, that inner voice that told me to keep posting YouTube videos and not give up came back. So another thing to keep in mind is that that inner voice can also become damaged or covered if you are mentally or physically unwell, which means it's just as important to take care of your body, rest, and recover as it is to uncover and heal the layers of trauma and negative experiences that have disrupted the airways of that inner voice. The inner voice will be tampered with when you're in a state of dysregulation, so it's important to notice when you're in that state of dysregulation and how it is trying to convince you of an inaccurate belief that has been created by other people's voices and not your own. And to help with something that might improve your health, I want to talk about today's sponsor, Factor. You know what sucks? Being at a point in life that you know you need to give up, but you don't have the time or resources to do so. But you know what sucks even more? Having that type of life and having to take the time to make all of your own food if you don't want to order food and eat things that make you feel like crap. That's where Factor comes in. Factor is a subscription-based meal service that sends chef-crafted and dietitian-approved fresh, never frozen meals right to your door. All you have to do is heat it up for 2 minutes in the microwave and you're good to go. On the days where I'm swamped with work and don't have time to make quality food, I save myself from the outrageous delivery fees of DoorDash or Uber Eats and just pop one of these meals in the microwave while working. And that's the other great thing about Factor too. It's much more cost effective than these delivery apps that charge you like outrageous delivery fees for every single order that manages to somehow double the price of your food. So if you're trying to reach your wellness goals while also getting amazing chef-crafted meals that take no time to make, you can go to factor75.com, and if you use the code Hastings50 at checkout, you're gonna get 50% off your first box plus free wellness shots for life. That's 2 free wellness shots from 3 available flavors while you're still an active subscriber. So yeah, go do that. Click the first link in the description, use the code Hastings50 for 50% off your first box and free wellness shots for life. Now, there's going to be loads of forces working against you once you start listening to this voice. For one, there's going to be your own fear. You essentially just have to trust the guidance of this elusive thing inside of you that has been dampened by the voices of so many other people and their opinions and what they think you should do. Your logical brain that tries to keep you safe in certainty also frequently clashes with this voice. And in some cases, it's worth listening to your logic over your inner voice. But when it comes to if you should quit, give up, and start on a new path that simultaneously excites you and scares the shit out of you, you should almost always listen to that inner voice. But this advice doesn't apply to just your career. It applies to anything that is producing challenges in your life that you are questioning. How does it feel when you overcome adversity in your relationships? What does your inner voice tell you about those? Do you still get the same sort of fulfillment from that one sport or hobby, or have you had the urge to shift your identity to something else? Never let the complacency and comfortability of where you currently are stop you from seeking the life that your inner voice is screaming at you to start pursuing. Now, here's the last thing you might be thinking after watching this. Cole, everything I've ever tried, I've given up on, and out of all those things that I've tried, pushing through the adversity, it's never felt like paradise on the other side. To those types of people, all I can really say is you have to decide to commit yourself to something without the certainty that I provided in this video. You might have to eat shit at a certain thing for a while before you start experiencing any of the positive challenges or inner voices that I described here. I wasn't trying to tell you that the thing for you at this moment should always feel easy and effortless. Almost anything that actually lasts and is good doesn't come easy, and it takes a long time to start feeling a lot of fulfillment towards it. So even if something seems remotely interesting and you know you're miserable where you currently are, you have to be willing to suck and fail and not feel any sort of positive feedback for at least a few months or maybe even a year before deciding if this is the thing or if it's time to move on to the next thing. This is the procedure that I've used to evolve as much as I have over the years with my career here on YouTube. Although my inner voice has never told me stop making videos, it has directed me to start making different styles and methods of videos. You know, I've gone from the basic self-improvement guy to the vegan fitness guy to the no-fap guy to the higher quality self-improvement guy, and now the more cinematic self-improvement dude I guess I'm trying to be. And every single one of those versions of me has come and gone exactly when it needs to. You are meant to continuously evolve over your lifetime. You are meant to quit things that are no longer serving you and experiment and get lost and fail and then stumble into the new thing that's meant for you. At every new stage in your life, apply the concepts of adversity that feels like blissful agony and your inner voice to that thing, and you will almost never not be who you're supposed to be in this very moment. Hey, if you're looking for more free guidance and you want to join a community of like-minded people who are all on the path towards self-actualization and are just positive and want to better themselves and have strong, meaningful discussions, then go to the link in my description to join my free self-improvement community. There are some resources in there as well that you can earn once you level up in that community. It's really fun. I'm pretty active in there as well, so go check it out. Link in the description below. And hey, maybe you're trying to be more disciplined at the thing that really sucks and that you kind of have to grind through right now. If that's the case, check out this video where I talk about how to be more disciplined. Thank you for watching until the end. Love you guys. Peace.